Guess what? You all think you're awake right now, but you're not. You're just dreaming. And eventually, you'll wake up and you'll realize this is all just a dream. But for now, enjoy your dream. 1, 3, 5, 7.
What happened here, Granny?
Somebody's head hit it.
It's hard to believe that only a couple weeks earlier we had been at the Dahlonega Film Festival having a great time. I thought that that would show Granny all the work that we had done was paying off, and hopefully his behavior would become less mysterious and erratic. But that wasn't the case. And there we were at Joey Wilson's pigeon coops with Granny cleaning out the coops, and he never did tell me why. And I never got any video of Joey Wilson either. He never let me videotape him. We did manage to get some shots of the pigeons racing around his house though.
Deputy's office.
What? Just came to check on you.
I'm all right.
Yeah? You sure?
Yeah. I'm fine.
Yeah?
There's Russ in the trailer. You know it's serious when we bring Russ out in the dark. Check on our Granny.
We came to see if there's anything we can help you do, man. Like, we were talking about McCall, about maybe trying to plea bargain with you so you could like at least get off the streets for a while. Maybe get you in somewhere. Would you be willing to talk to the DA about that? Because you can't, you know, I mean, you gotta get your head together. You know, there ain't no reason to quit. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason.
I was gonna get you to leave the camera here and I can film my suicide.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I don't think I want to contribute to that.
So what's that?
You know,
There ain't no reason to do it, Granny.
His arraignment was coming up for his arrest from the preceding Christmas. And since we had an attorney in the band, McCall agreed to represent him. But since we also had a show coming up and we weren't sure what the arraignment was going to bring, we all felt that we needed to bring in another drummer just in case Granny was not able to make it to the show. And Granny was fine with that.
Daniel. Woo!
No.
It's not rock and roll without at least one wake-up call to the house.
How the hell you doing that?
You're just making a big noise.
Yeah, make a big noise. This is rock and roll. Man, he hits it pretty hard, man. I'm actually like kind of nervous.
Just play the way you play, man. That's all there is.
When I watch the video now, I see the pattern. When the first show was coming up, that was when it started to become real for Granny. And he told me in the very beginning that real shit scared him. You know, I really didn't take that to heart. I just had my own goals in mind. And that's something that I've had to live with ever since then.
You're going numb. I won't be sore playing your stuff. I'll make fun songs. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm gonna be sore with my little headbanging escapade. I mean, the main question is, you know, do you think you can
Keep it together.
keep it together for 2 years? Yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah. Well, if you don't, you're gonna have a major problem.
Right.
We could fight it to stop and everything. The problem is two of them want to use their word against yours, and you know, if you lose, I don't think you're gonna get 2 years. You probably get more like 5.
All right, we're off into the wild blue yonder.
Good luck, fellas. Granny went to court with McCall, and miraculously he got off pretty light, and it looked like he was going to be able to play. But even after that,
like, Granny knows Tim like really, really well, and they were talking about him one night, and I didn't know who they were talking about. I was like, yeah, that old guy ran into Centro and just stuck his hand down 2 tip jars and just ran out. And that's, for bartenders, there's nothing.
no, there's nothing worse than that.
There's nothing worse than that for bartenders. Tim's looking at me weird because he knows that we were all buddies, so, you know, guilt by association, and I got to see this every day. Every day.
Get over there, Ira. Make a mud angel. Get over there.
No mud angel.
It always goes out with a whimper.
Who's whimpering? I'm not.
I ain't whimpering. I got my chaps on. Not with a bang, but with a whimper.
I wish you'd stop saying that.
I was a little depressed at the Livonia Biker Rally because it just didn't seem the same without Granny, and I was a little bit, you know, kind of grumpy about everything and not really into it. Plus it was raining, and it had never rained on us ever for the 2.5 years that we've been doing this, you know, toting gear or getting ready for shows or whatever. We had never had a problem with rain, and the first time that we played without Granny, it just rained the entire time.
Let's all have a hand for Big Dan from Chronicle the Man and thank him for filling in for us on short notice and doing a great fucking job. Woo! Yeah! Thanks, Dan! The sugar's gone. You know me saying, well, there's heaven and hell. Well, is there an answer to the burden? When my
For you, buddy! You too, man!
All right, thanks a lot. Tungsten Dicks, give it up for Tungsten Dicks.
What next? I ask you.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm gonna go drink some sake and smoke cigarettes. I'm pretty much done.
Just do it again.
Fucking do it again.
Yeah.
You should have. Here, take your beer so you
Okay.
can get in on it. All right. Everything we have to say.
Cheers.
Cheers to Granny.
Cheers to Granny.
Yeah.
Here's your Granny.
Thanks for getting us this far, Granny.
Yeah.
Hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Don't come creeping though.
Yeah, I honestly wish he was here.
Yeah, we all do.
He made his own choices.
Yeah.
But Godspeed,
God bless
you
him,
old
yeah.
fucker.
God bless him.
Like I said to my brother last night, I said, this ain't church and I ain't his mother.
That's right.
Rock and roll.
He's just fucked up. He'll be alright. Everybody fucks up.
But the show went really well, and everybody had a good time, and there was a new energy because Daniel was excited to play drums, and the guys liked playing with Dan because honestly he was a better drummer than Granny. Hey, this is what happens in real life. Some people go down and other people come in, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, the camera's turned on.
Wants to be a rock star gun star.
Gunstar Galactica.
The Gunstar Galactica days are over. Georgia.
Alabama. From Texas.
I'm going home to see my father. I'm going home, no more to roam. I'm just crossing over Jordan. I'm just going to my home.
The Greek philosophers always said, "To thine own self be true." And that sums it up for Ira. Ira was a rocker, but more than that, he was a friend. The kind of music that he liked, he never wavered in it. Didn't matter if it was fashionable or not. That's the kind of music he liked, and he followed his vision. The single-minded pursuit. He's going to be sorely missed. Sorely missed.
I can still stand here and picture being at your house, what, 7th grade, 8th grade, back in that room, playing guitar, and playing games, and drawing pictures, and fantasizing about what life was going to be like, and what was going to happen in the future. And I've thought about it a lot, and I was trying to think, because we've had our differences over the years, and I'm not going to pull any punches because I know he'd do the same for me. You know, Ira, beautiful person, but he could aggravate the tar out of it if he wanted to. He's very obstinate. Why was I clung to that boy so much? And he to me. And the one thing that struck me is he's known me so long. Ira was my witness. We said all those things back there in that room, and we set out to try to do them. We watched each other try and fail and try again and try it a different way and fail and try again and keep on trying. And I hope he'll continue to fill that role. He was a beautiful man. He was a comedian. He often didn't do it on purpose. He was hilarious.
That's how it felt. One moment we're at the biker rally, looking past all the craziness, and the next moment we're at a graveyard, saying goodbye to Ira. And at the end of the day, the only thing that you know is that your friend is gone, and that tomorrow is another day, and it's up to you to decide what's next.
So, with all of that said, guess I'd just like to bid a good night and a happy tomorrow.
It was going to be a while before there were any happy tomorrows.
Back working with the cowboy. What's in that room, cowboy? What is that room?
Crack paper. 1,000 rolls. Can you see it in here tonight?
One of the best jobs ever. Painting the closet that holds the toilet paper. Here we are.
How's the jack bills?
Fixing
There,
yeah, on a solstice. The longest day of the year. And we will remember the light. Have at it, Crazy Dave. And I'm slobbering all over the place.
Drooling thing.
That's right. That's what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah.
Now's your chance. Crack a beer. That's right.
Crazy Dave decided he was going to move to California. Of all of us, Dave was hit the hardest by Ira's death. And it seemed like a really nice way to get a fresh start.
It's Crazy Dave. Santa Cruz. On his new bike. Hell yeah.
And when I got there, it was awesome. He had this idyllic life 2 blocks from the ocean. He had a job as animal control officer for the county of Santa Cruz.
You always gotta check him first.
And while I was there, they got engaged. And while I was staying with Dave, one of his friends offered me a room in her condo, just a few miles down the road from Dave. She even helped me find a job.
I think it's just as important to document the things that you do to pay the bills as much as it is to document the things that you're passionate about. I think that it's important to keep an open mind and be willing to do whatever it takes. When something comes into your life that you really want to enjoy and experience, how you pay the bills is oftentimes insignificant, and at the same time, it's really part of the experience. The music in this clip was recorded by the band Helm, and they're some guys that I worked with at the warehouse, and it was just another interesting element that added to everything. Coming from where I came from and where I am in the present, it just all made everything seem connected, and that is the thing that living at least partially in pursuit of dreams allows you to see.
Surfing had just sort of taken over my imagination, like all my creative energy. It was weird for me to like actually do a physical activity that felt really creative. I was really satisfied just working and learning to surf.
Any last words?
No, I intend to keep talking after I'm married, too.
Hey, Dad, can you get this?
I was deep in this little surf life when Russ called me and he said, Granny hung himself. Granny's gone. He said, Granny's gone. Granny always talked about killing himself.
I was gonna get you to leave the camera here and I can film my suicide.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
One of the reasons I left Athens, and I told this to Granny, I said, look, I'm not going to be the one to find you hanging in this living room. He continued to isolate himself. His addiction was in complete control. So after Granny died, I went back to the rough cut that I hadn't watched, honestly, in a really long time. It reminded me of why we did the project in the first place. I loved to watch Granny play the drums. It inspired me to watch him progress and rediscover his joy for playing music. That will always be the reason why I did it. I just couldn't tell the story. I couldn't go back to the original tapes, and they just stayed in the box, you know, for another 15 years probably. When you're close to someone who commits suicide, it creates this giant wall. I was just really blocked off from any of the joy that had come from that experience. Eventually, I found myself in Los Angeles working in production. It was the day after Labor Day, September 2015. And over the weekend, I had seen on social media that my old friend Boo, who had helped me and Granny in the beginning with the band, was heading to Los Angeles to record a record. So I messaged him and said, hey, you know, if you need somebody to document the recording session, you know, shoot some video, whatever, I'm here. So while I was driving to work that morning, my phone rang, and it was Boo. And he's like, hey, you know, I'm in LA and I'm gonna, you know, start my recording this afternoon. He's like, I have this all-star lineup of players at this really cool studio called the White Buffalo Studio. And I was thinking about it, I was like, man, I know the name of that studio. And he's like, oh yeah, the producer Noah Shane, he did all these records for Skrillex and this band called Dead Sarah. I love Dead Sarah. I had seen him a bunch of times in LA, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Anyway, it was just like one of those, like, you know, cool connections. He's like, yeah, if you can come down, you know, we're gonna get started this afternoon. And I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. So I went into work, and as soon as I got there, my boss came in and he said, we're done, we're closed. We were closing the studio. I grabbed my gear and I headed downtown to document Boo-Ray's recording session. And I spent 2 weeks with him, and then ended up going to Nashville for a little while, and we made a music video. And yeah, it was just a great, fun experience, and great to reconnect, you know, with Boo, because, like, you know, Boo was really integral, you know, in the whole band thing years and years ago, and I was always so grateful to him, and it was great to actually document some of his work. And it was also great to see that he was still doing it. Boo never stopped making music, and he eventually left Athens and moved to Nashville, where he still lives and plays music and records music.
I've been held up and broke down in Nashville. Take me to Los Angeles, yeah.
Getting to work with Boo in Los Angeles was really important for me. Perfect timing. It was a great way to transition out of losing a job that I really liked. Eventually I got a job at Time Inc., working for brands like People and Entertainment Weekly and Fortune magazine. And one of the projects that we worked on was called In the Basement. It was a singer-songwriter series that we shot in our little studio. When the producer was pitching the idea, he asked the studio crew to shoot a little demo. He told us the kind of set that he wanted us to build, and then he asked that somebody sing a song so he could have a full proof of concept pitch. I said, you know what, I'll sing a song. And I sang Joey Wilson.
All right, here we go. Joey Wilson. 1, 2, 3.
It was really fun to, you know, pitch a show for a big brand like Entertainment Weekly with a song like Joey Wilson. My producer actually thought it was a cover.
Doing what he can. He races pigeons. That's right.
It was just another thing that just made me smile, that was related to the story that I had been so blocked off from for so long. In January, I got laid off from my job working for People and Entertainment Weekly, and part of my severance package was some career counseling. So I was going through some of the questions that they ask you, and one of them was, if you could do anything, what would you do? It made me think about Granny, because that was the question that I had asked him right after dumpster diving.
If you could do anything, what would you do?
My first answer was, I want to tell a story. And while I was thinking about what kind of story I wanted to tell, I found out that McCall had been convicted for his involvement in the January 6th incident.
He has been corrupted by or seduced by a dangerous and violent ideology that considers the United States to be in a state of civil war, considers everyone who voted for a Democrat to be worthy of execution.
Investigators say William Calhoun, an attorney from Americus, bragged about kicking in House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's door on social media.
I mean, we hadn't talked in probably 20 years, but I really felt like I wanted to reach out to him. And one of the reasons I wanted to reach out was to thank him for playing music with me all those years ago. And that was a really important part of that whole process for me. Something that I never expected and continues, to resonate in my life. So I reached out to him and he called me. And, the first part of our conversation was about the January 6th stuff and the crazy stuff that he had posted on social media. But our conversation eventually turned to music. And I thanked him for playing music with me all those years ago. And I said, when you played Gravy Slave with me, it was really significant and it means a lot. He said, I love that song. I'm going to play it. And in that moment, it occurred to me that I had never made the music available publicly, ever. After getting off the phone with McCall, I went through the process of registering the Tungsten Dicks music to be on Spotify and Apple Music and Pandora, all the streaming services. And later that summer, it went live. And that night, I slept better than I have slept in a really long time. And that just also added to the idea that I really needed to tell the story, because a lot of dreaming got done before it all came crashing down. And I think it's because the whole thing started out with a group of friends having fun with a silly song title that inspired a silly song that made us all laugh. And that laughter inspired us to make music that we like to play. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
That sounded cool.
Yeah, that could go somewhere.
One, three, five, seven.